The buy now, pay later bubble is about to burst, said this article by Mac Schwerin from The Atlantic, and I've wanted to make this video for a while because I think we're in serious financial trouble with the buy now, pay later thing that's going on right now. And you can see the buy now, pay later option in almost every online store you visit. And I just bought plane tickets the other day, and there was the option to use Uplift to buy now and pay back later. And I went to Amazon to buy some live stream equipment, and there was the option to use Affirm to buy now and then pay later. And what's troubling to me is that you have the option to pay a product for $100 and then make 4 installments for $25 each for 4 months interest free. So back to the article. This is a well-written article, and all of these companies are encouraging you to buy their products, but with high inflation, they realize that these products are getting more expensive than the previous year. And when I go to Costco or other grocery stores in the Vegas area, it's so much more expensive just to buy a dozen of eggs. And the CPI report even said that it's costing you 60% more to buy eggs now than you did a year before. During the summer of 2020, which was during the height of the coronavirus pandemic, people bought gym equipment like Peloton with Affirm to make installments on their bikes or treadmills. And Peloton products accounted for 30% of Affirm's revenue. And the Peloton craze is over, but the concept of buy now, pay later has become a trend. The loans for buy now, pay later increased from $2 billion to $24.2 billion from 2019 to 2021. And people had their stimulus money in 2020 and 2021 to pay for things like Peloton, but they still elected to use the buy now, pay later service to make several payments over the year. And this is a very interesting part of the article. Many people who use the buy now, pay later service don't have or use a credit card, according to an economist at Harvard. Marco DiMaggio from Harvard says that many Gen Zers are skeptical of credit cards, possibly because many of them have seen their parents sink into debt during the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And the buy now, pay later concept has become a trend on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and many social media platforms. And most Gen Zers love to go to TikTok, right? And I've seen ads that promote the buy now, pay later service so that people could afford a vacation, TV, or something that costs more than $1,000. Instagram's hashtag Afterpay is tagged in more than 1.6 million posts on the platform, mostly for bags, dresses, makeup products, or something trendy. On TikTok, we have people with tens of thousands of followers promoting the Afterpay program. And people are going as far as explaining that even if you have $1,000 to buy a TV, you should still use the buy now, pay later service because you could invest $900 and make more money. Yeah, I want to play you some of the clips I found on TikTok, and I'm actually happy that there are quite a few people on TikTok telling others not to use the Afterpay program. So let me play some of the clips here.
Guys, do not use Afterpay. It is a trap. Oh my God. When I tell you, these people, they know what they're doing to me. Imagine I'm just at Maya. I have all these clothes, right? So I'm like, yeah, let me just put these clothes on, right? And in my head, I think I'm just paying $300. But I forget every single fortnight, $300 is going to leave my account. Here I am. I get home and I remember. And on top of that, my phone bill comes. And then my Apple Music takes money from me. And then Netflix. They're not going to let me buy a house. My credit score is going to be minus 30.
What's a scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore?
I don't know if people are ready to hear this, but Afterpay. If you can't afford to buy it now, you can't afford it. It's predatory. You know, it's really enticing when you want a $100 clothing item and you can't afford $100 outright, but you can afford to pay, you know, however many payments of $10 or $20. And oh, suddenly you're like, well, you know, I can get another shirt that I do Afterpay and then pay $10 or $20 a month. And then you're just getting into debt. You're racking up all these little like purchases that are turning into thousands of dollars. It's predatory. Don't use Afterpay.
Super quick money tip. When checking out, do not use Afterpay. Listen, if you can't buy that twice, then you can't buy it, period. So Afterpay, monthly payments, no. That's not it. And they're doing that on purpose to make you pay more. So don't.
Oh my gosh. $2,100 and doing 15 days, 817, doing 30 days, $1,300, and then in 60 days, she'll have to pay back $2,093. Oh, Lord. Whether you use the Afterpay program or not, you're still going to end up spending $1,000 to pay for that TV you like, right? So if you can't afford $1,000 in one payment, then you can't afford that TV at all. And investing the difference of $900 in 2022 meant that you owed an additional 18% because of the bear market. So not only you lost 18% of $900 from investing in the S&P 500, but you still got to pay back the $1,000 loan that you took out. You can't generally make an 8% or 10% investment return in just 8 weeks. So it doesn't make any sense to invest the difference. And if you have the money to pay for a TV, use the money to pay for the TV. And I'm thankful that there are people like Mac Schwerin who wrote this article and people on TikTok who are spreading the truth behind the Afterpay program. And what's scary is that people are missing their buy now, pay later payments. Do you know what happens when you miss a payment with a firm? And let me read you this fine print that's in the tiniest print at the bottom of the website. Your rate will be 0% APR or 10 to 36% APR based on credit and is subject to an eligibility check. Affirm Pay in 4 payment options is 0% APR. A down payment may be required. For example, an $800 purchase could be split into 12 monthly payments of $72.21 at 15% APR or 4 interest-free payments of $200 every 2 weeks. Affirm won't charge you late fees, but late or partial payments will hurt your credit scores. And after talking to several of my clients in the past, getting a refund from Affirm after they return items to the stores they purchased is an absolute nightmare. And people will choose the $200 interest-free biweekly payments because they're thinking, hey, that's interest-free and I can do that in 8 weeks, no problem, right? And then when they start buying more things, it becomes $300, $400, and then $500. People can't afford to repay these debts to lenders like Affirm, and they're forced to switch to the monthly payment plan for 12 months with 15, 20, or 30% interest rates. And what happens if your paycheck, let's say it's lower next month and you can't afford to make that $200 interest-free biweekly payment? This is the reality that's happening across the US right now, and it's a disaster. And I've helped multiple clients in recent years to get out of their buy now, pay later program. And this video is not to shame them or shame anyone watching this. And I truly want to help every person who has ever been in that situation because I've been there. Back in 2014, I had over $110,000 in consumer debt. And I didn't have the buy now, pay later debt back in 2014, but I had 5 completely maxed out credit cards for $47,000. And if you need help with your personal finances, like creating a budget or savings plan, or getting out of debt to achieve your financial independence, you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firestarchat.com/coaching. And if you don't want to chat with me, you can always get my financial independence resources like the spreadsheets I use for savings and investments for absolutely free by visiting firestarchat.com/contact. You can also check out my Fireside Chat shop to check out the books and equipment I use at firestarchat.com/shopping. And in my personal opinion, the buy now, pay later program is a huge bubble that's ready to burst at any time. Here's one of my theories going forward with the buy now, pay later program. Are people buying Peloton anymore? Not really. With rising interest rates by the Fed in 2022 and 2023, borrowing money is just not that attractive anymore. High inflation is still a major factor for many people who can't afford to buy discretionary items. And the Affirm stock is down 70% since a year ago when the stock was trading at $60 a share and now about $15 a share. They had operating losses quarter over quarter and they lost almost $1 billion last year. And delinquency from consumers is the biggest negative factor to Affirm. And with the US potentially entering a recession in 2023, and we might be in a recession right now, these delinquencies and loan defaults with the buy now, pay later service will get worse. And let me show you how banks generally make money. Banks hate people like me who pay off their credit cards month over month because banks are not making any money from me in interest, right? And I like my credit cards because I like to use them to pay something and pay them off and get a lot of points out of them. But there are always people who only make the minimum payments. The concept of debt is the same with buy now, pay later. And when you spend $1,000 with a buy now, pay later service, if you pay it off within 4 payments, you don't pay any interest. Awesome, right? But when they charge you 15% APR over the course of 12 months, maybe 20%, 30%, fintech, like Affirm, gets $150 from you for the interest they charge you. But when people stop making payments because they lost their jobs, their hours got cut, or a significant life event happened, then Affirm loses money because they're not getting those payments from you. When people have financial issues, they're going to prioritize their groceries, gas, mortgage, or rent, or other essential items over paying their loans. Now, people are looking to use the Afterpay program to buy non-discretionary items like groceries. I can now find grocery stores that offer the buy now, pay later service. This is extremely dangerous because now people are accumulating debt from buying something they need on a daily basis. LendingTree reported that 42% of consumers who use the Afterpay programs are late on their payments. And what happens to companies like Affirm who don't get their payments, right? Their net profit margin goes down and becomes unprofitable, right? And that's one of the reasons why Affirm had almost $1 billion in operating loss last year. And 70% of those consumers admitted to spending more than they would if they had to pay for everything up front. And I wouldn't be surprised if these fintech companies like Affirm go bankrupt if a recession worsens and people stop spending money. And we've been worrying about inflation, but what about deflation? Because deflation would be much worse than inflation. So what should you do to make these big purchases? Nobody in the FIRE community even used the buy now, pay later program. And if you're brand new to my channel, FIRE stands for Financial Independence and Retire Early, and that's what my channel is all about. And if you have the cash to buy something you want, use the cash to buy it. Do not use the buy now, pay later service. And when you go to Amazon and find something you really want to buy, but it's going to cost you $500 and you don't have the money to pay for it, then you can't afford it. It's as simple as that. And I use my annual expenses spreadsheets that you can download for free by visiting firesearcher.com/contact. And these are also known as sinking funds. Now, if you've never heard of sinking funds, I have several videos on those. And I have a sinking fund for travel. I have a sinking fund for anniversaries, birthdays, concerts, and football games. And all of my sinking funds are with Ally Bank, and this video is not sponsored by Ally Bank. There are no late fees or penalties with my sinking funds. In fact, Ally Bank right now pays me 3.3% in interest for putting my money in their bank. And every time I buy plane tickets to travel to Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios, or to visit my family, I never feel guilty because I always have the money in my sinking funds to pay for it. And do you think people who achieve financial independence use buy now, pay later? Do you think millionaires and billionaires use buy now, pay later? These companies are taking advantage of you because you can't wait to make the $500 purchase. Please don't do it. And I want you to succeed. And the buy now, pay later service will just put you in debt further. And if you want to know more about how to get out of your credit card debt and get started on your financial independence journey, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.